Hello there and welcome back to the final days of Pumpkin Fest, a once-in-a-lifetime event where our pumpkin host eats nothing but pumpkin items every day. Now it's just one item a day and it's homemade. Watch him as he struggles well into winter to get through what he should have finished a long time ago. Join us on the final episodes of Pumpkin Fest 2021. Alright, and welcome to the final days of Pumpkin Fest, and we are here with another homemade item, courtesy of Jeff Cavalier of Athlean-X for supplying the recipe. And for those of you who don't know, I actually used to be really overweight back in the day, and then back in about middle of 2018, I stumbled across his videos and decided to make a change. I'm not saying I'm lean, I'm just saying I'm a lot healthier since then, and thanks to Jeff Cavalier. Now, I've actually only made this recipe once, despite my love for pumpkin, and I think it's because I messed up the first time making it around. But I think, fourth time's probably the charm. We're actually six. I've always overestimated putting in the pumpkin, but I think now I finally perfected the recipe. Now, he's got his own take, but let me read you out how I made it. First up, we have 2 cups of oatmeal. Measured that out. Threw in a little bit of pumpkin spice. I use Trader Joe's. I used about a little teaspoon of a vanilla extract in there. He uses maple syrup for sweetness. I chose to use about 2 teaspoons of the Tirani's pumpkin sauce that I've been using for a while, and trust me, I think it's a great addition. He says anywhere from a scoop. He doesn't really take measurements, so he puts in a scoop of pumpkin, which looks about 48 ounces. I think that's too much, and that's where I've messed up prior years making this recipe. I chose to keep it down to just 3 to 4 ounces. And then I used about 4 to 6 ounces of almond milk just to measure it out. And this is what we ended up with. Now, this isn't necessarily overnight. I've only had it for a couple of days, but thanks to the minimal use of pumpkin that I used in here, you can't really tell just by looking at it there would be any pumpkin in there. And thanks to that pumpkin sauce, it's a nice mixture of the right kind of pumpkin sweetness that you want out of it. So, looks like no more oatmeal. It looks like normal oatmeal, so let's see what we got. Now this, I want to make more and more. I really do think the key between the first couple times I try to make it, and now, is one, the pumpkin sauce. It's the right amount of pumpkin flavor and sweetness added to it that you couldn't really get from the maple syrup. Might be a little more sugar than Jeff is recommending, but I think it's well needed. And especially for the serving ratios, you probably get like maybe 3 to 4 servings. So I don't think that kind of sugar spread out between those 4 meals is really going to hurt you. Unless you eat it up all at once, I don't really see it being a problem if you're looking into that kind of thing. I think it's the limited pumpkin, the pumpkin sauce, that really kind of brings it all out together. Because before I just put a whole cup of 8 ounces of a pumpkin, or I think it was a pound of pumpkin, and that was didn't finish it, ended up throwing it out. But I would say it's up to you based on your level of sweetness. But anywhere from 2 to 4 tablespoons of the Tirani's if you want it super sweet. I did about 2.5, and I think that's the right magic touch right there. It's not too sweet. Doesn't feel like I'm eating anything unnecessarily healthy. Now, since you're making it from natural oats, and the only sugar is coming from the syrup, overall, you got yourself a good meal. Honestly, maybe the only thing I would probably do is throw in some protein powder in here just to make it a little more beneficial. Maybe sprinkle in more pumpkin powder spice as opposed to the sauce to keep on the calorie count. Or maybe just a little more sauce. I wish there was more I could add to it, but really it all kind of depends on how you make it, what you add to it. But wow, this is definitely one of my favorite items I've made. It's not instantly so good it's great, it jumps out at you, but the fact that it's subtle enough, it's flavorful enough, it's good enough for you, it's definitely one of the healthier items we've had this year. I really do think this is something that people should take into account and try out, especially if you're a fan of oatmeal and just more natural oatmeal that isn't coming straight from, a pre-packaged pack with unnecessary sugar. It's more controlled sugar in this, and that makes for the better. That's the key, the sauce and the amounts of real pumpkin. Minimize one, maximize the other. You got yourself some good stuff. Thanks, Jeff. You always come through all these years later. Again, flavorful, tasty. I'm only supposed to be eating probably there's supposed to be 4 servings in here. I'm already going into my second serving. But It really is delicious. It's the right level of sweetness. Yeah, follow this recipe to a T, and I think you'll enjoy it. If you want extra sweet, throw in extra pumpkin sauce. But yeah, I give this a. It's a weird thing to give a grading to because I want to say a 4 out of 5, but that kind of rating automatically indicates like, oh, it must be super pumpkiny or something super awesome. But it's a very subtle, great flavor. It's just very subtle, very not too strong. I personally really think this is awesome. I mean, I'd give it a 4.5 out of 4 just because this is something I think I can keep coming back to. And after all the pumpkin I've eaten, this is a nice palate cleanser at the end of the month, at the end of a long 6 months that we've been doing this. But this is awesome. All right, so I'll see you guys next time as we come on to our final days of Pumpkin Fest. See you then.